we have Shane Shepherd on the line. I hope he's still on the line. I don't know if you remember Shane. Last week he was on, and he also does the iGrant app. And if you could show the iGrant app, because I'm a little involved with this too. But he's a great guy, knows a lot about. One of the few people I found that really, again, is not a huckster and really knows his stuff about it. And he told us last week about how your nonprofit or community could get 20 workers for free from the government to work for you all year for free. And actually, he did this last year or the year before. And one of those workers actually was smart enough to find out how to get him $200,000 more for his, in extra grants to work for him. So, Shane, are you there?
I'm here.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So what's the good news you're going to tell us about today?
Well, I think today we're going to talk about revolving loan funds. And that's a fund. Well, we're going to talk a couple things. It's basically a fund that helps out businesses for their capital expenses and that sort of stuff.
Oh, this is the low interest loans for small business and startup, but this is for small towns. Is that right, Shane?
Well, right. So there's the RBEG grants, Rural Business Entrepreneurial Grants through the USDA. That's for towns of 50,000 or less. And a city or an economic development corporation or a nonprofit that's set up to help businesses would apply for this grant of about $100,000, and then they would get the grant from the USDA, and then they would loan out this money to businesses at whatever terms and rates that they want to.
So in other words, I guess traditionally this money is used for like small businesses or startups that really can't get money anywhere else, and this is why this government program is available that gives it to this nonprofit or a local community to give it at a very favorable interest rate to these small businesses, right?
That's right. In fact, we had one business in town where I used to work at that we gave them a 1% loan for 20 years.
A 1%? A 1% loan for 20 years?
Yes.
What? Wait, you think Capital One is going to do that for you?
Yeah. Well, so what had happened is that once the organization gets this money, you have to spend it within 3 years, and if you don't, you have to send it back to the federal government.
Ah, I see.
Well, at this specific one, the business kind of knew that we had to either choose him at those rates and those terms, or we had to give it back. So we got him a really good deal.
I see. So you had to get rid of the money, right? And he was the only one in line, so to speak.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That is correct.
Well, that's a bad problem for you, but a nice problem for the entrepreneur, right?
That's right. And as the money is returned back to the organization or to the city, the federal hands are off. They're not tracking it anymore.
I see.
And so ideally you would keep the revolving loan fund going, but if you had other projects, you could spend money from this account on the other projects.
So, but it sounds like you're telling me that a lot of communities now have this money they got one time from the government, this revolving loan fund money. It's sitting in their coffers. They lend it out. The money comes back, and they could lend it out again to new entrepreneurs, correct?
That is correct. And now that doesn't matter if it's a smaller town or not. There's a lot of large cities with revolving loan funds.
So these revolving loan funds could be in any city around the country, and it'd be wise for an entrepreneur to go searching for the local revolving loan funds from the government. Where would they go to find those?
All right, so the best place to start looking at is go to Google, type in your city and Economic Development Corporation. And most cities have those corporations already set up.
Right.
And then contact that Economic Development Corporation and ask them if they have one. And if they do, try to get an appointment.
Wow. So this is, and it's particularly, most of the times it's set aside for, as we said, like small businesses or startups that really can't get money elsewhere, right? Right.
Or, in other cases, is that a lot of banks, they'll fund 80%. I believe there's an SBA loan that will fund up to 80% of a project. Right. The problem is that additional 20%. And a lot of entrepreneurs do not have that 20%.
Right.
So this money can be used for what's called gap financing, and the business will get their 20% from the revolving loan fund, match is 80%, so the project's 100% financed.
Ah, well, that's a real neat thing. So this is something you could use for the 20% down you need for the SBA, huh?
That's correct. Yes. Uh-huh.
Wow.
And usually it takes a second lien, which means that a lot of times you have to have collateral for a loan, and so this 20% can be for the same collateral, but it's just a second lien to that collateral.
Well, God, I mean, there's always more than one way to skin a cat, isn't there? So when you go to the SBA, they say, well, you need to have 20% of this money yourself. And you say, God, my pockets are empty. I can't. You go to this revolving loan fund, get that because they're more lenient, I guess, in giving money. And now you got your 20%. You put together a deal, and you're in business.
That's right. That's exactly right. And, talking about being more lenient, a lot of banks will give you a loan based on collateral or credit and that sort of stuff. And some revolving loan funds may do that, but a lot of them will also do it based on if it's a good idea or if the person has good character or that sort of stuff.
Oh, good character. So that's not me.
Yeah, right.
Well, that's wonderful. And so next week, give us we talked about doing something next week, too. So give us a little teaser on what you're going to share with us next week.
All right. Well, there's another program out there, and this is by the USDA also. And if you're at a certain income level and you live in a substandard house or what the government might consider a substandard house, they'll pay to tear down your home, give you a place to stay at while they build you a brand new home.
Wow.
Then you move in. Then you move into this new home, and if you're there for 5 years, you own the home.
Wow. So they tear down your old home, build you a new one. And all you have to do is make sure you stay there 5 years, huh?
That's right.
Oh, great. Well, give us the details next week. And Shane, thanks for being there.
Thank you,
you're a
Matthew.
Good man. And it's iGrantApp.com, right? And the iGrant, I know I'm part of this, but it's a great little item, and what's like $2.99 or something like that. It's an iGrant price, huh?
Yeah, Matthew, it's $1.99 right now.
Oh, $1.99 special today for you only.
The two grants that we have talked about, there's applications that have been funded on that app.
Wow. So if you want to know what those applications like, they're on the app. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, thank you again, Shane. Take care.
Thank you.